Mike, do you anticipate that he would be in your rotation at the start of the season?
I don't know if he will be or not.
Did Mike Brown just say that the Kings might start the season without the EuroLeague MVP in their rotation? European basketball fans find that ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
But Sasha Vezenkov wouldn't be the first EuroLeague star to fail in the NBA. I'm going to look at three main reasons why that has happened in the past and why I'm slightly worried about the future of the two former EuroLeague MVPs, Sasha Vezenkov and Vasilije Micic. To better understand the formula of success, I went through all the established EuroLeague stars who transitioned to the NBA. I considered established EuroLeague stars to be players who were at or close to the all-EuroLeague level or something equivalent if they played before the 2000s. Also, I only looked at players who were not considered prospects anymore, meaning they were 23 and older when they joined the NBA.
Now the offensive board.
Using these filters, it all added up to 36 such EuroLeague stars. Now, I needed to determine which ones were successful and who you could consider as a failure. I chose these parameters, at least 3 seasons in the league where they averaged 15 or more minutes per game, and I found 20 players fitting this criteria. Perhaps the most interesting discovery was that out of those 20 successful players, only 6 were guards. And all of those guards were relatively big and athletic. Manu Ginobili, Dražen Petrovic, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Marko Jaric, Predrag Danilovic, and Tomas Satoranski. Which brings us to the first and, in my opinion, the biggest reason why EuroLeague stars do not transition well into the NBA, and that is physical attributes. To be more specific, a lack of size, athleticism, or both. Despite the stereotype that the NBA does not have defense, being undersized or having slow feet on the defensive end often became the biggest factor why these EuroLeague stars couldn't stay on the court. The most recent examples of just being too small for the NBA were Facundo Campasso and Kevin Pangos. By 2020, the Argentinian Campasso had become one of the best guards in Europe, but that clearly wasn't his biggest dream.
With a nice move again, but he's short and off the mark. And look at Campasso, wants to do it again, one more time. Oh, he did it again!
The Argentinian paid $5.3 million out of his own pocket to Real Madrid in order to cover a part of the NBA buyout and join the Denver Nuggets.
Facu, through the legs,
Unfortunately, this investment didn't pay off for Facu at the end. Although he had a relatively good first season in the team and actually even proved himself as a pesky defender, his physical limitations encouraged the Nuggets to quote-unquote move in a different direction and build a bigger team. Kevin Pangos is an even better example here, as he lacked not only size but athleticism too. The Canadian guard became an all-EuroLeague first-team selection in 2021, which got him his chance at the NBA the following season.
grabs the loose ball. Pangos in transition, laser beam, bounce pass!
Although I really should say he did not get his chance, as during his time in Cleveland, Pangos played only 24 games and averaged under 7 minutes a game. If Campasso was able to compensate for his size with his lateral speed and defensive instincts, Pangos was an even bigger defensive liability for the Cavaliers. But even if you have the right size for the NBA, being a below-average defender will limit your role mightily. That happened to probably two of the most legendary European playmakers, Milos Teodosic and Sarunas Jasikevicius.
Way short on that attempt. Teodosic, oh, that is extraordinary! What a find, what a finish!
Both of these guys had already established themselves as elite creators in Europe, and their offensive game actually translated pretty well in the NBA, but their inability to stay in front of athletic NBA guards was the main reason cutting their careers short in the United States. And that applies not just to backcourt players, but forwards too. Take for example Kostas Papanikolaou, Luigi Tatome, Nicolo Melli, or any other EuroLeague forward who had the right size for the position, but couldn't defend against shifty and crafty NBA forwards. I think it all comes down to the different approaches between the two basketball worlds. In Europe, basketball players are being taught how to navigate defensive systems, while in the US, the focus is on defense in ISO situations. So it's no surprise that often an American who is debuting in the EuroLeague might look lost in the defensive schemes, while European rookies in the NBA might struggle staying in front of their men.
You want to have a floater in your arsenal.
He just went
no, he
5
didn't.
hole. Stop it. Stop
Okay.
it, Chris Paul.
All right.
Stop it.
Another thing is that it is easier to hide the defensive limitations of some of these European bigs compared to the ones who are defending on the perimeter and often get exposed.
Nice 1-2 combination. Two ball handlers, two attackers. Steph, 10-3.
Second reason why EuroLeague stars often fail in the NBA is the inability to adjust to a different role. More specifically, going from a star to a role player. Here's the thing, in the NBA you're either a superstar who gets to do everything on the court, or you are a specialist who does one or two things on an elite level. That's why a EuroLeague star who is good at many things but doesn't have one elite skill can struggle in the NBA. I think the prime example of this is Vassilis Spanoulis. Luka Doncic revealed that he wore the number 7 at Real Madrid in honor of him, while Giannis Antetokounmpo called him the European Kobe.
He's like a Kobe on the Jordan of Europe.
So how come someone who's praised like that averaged only 2.7 points in his lone NBA season for the Houston Rockets? Well, when you are one of the best offensive players in Europe, being asked to be just a spot-up shooter is really tough. The legendary exchange where Spanoulis said he's McGrady back home and his coach replied, "Great, McGrady is McGrady here," illustrates this perfectly.
He told me, in my country, I'm Jason McGrady, I'm T-Mac. I was like, okay.
NBA coaches not caring about your past accomplishments or treating you as another rookie is also something many EuroLeague stars cannot grasp. Spanoulis didn't get along with his head coach Jeff Van Gundy, but he wasn't alone. One of the most lethal scorers EuroLeague has ever seen, Arvydas Macijauskas had a horrendous season with the Hornets, playing there only for 1 year and later calling Byron Scott a really bad coach. While those were some really harsh words, his teammate at a time, who also happened to play on both sides of the Atlantic, Boštjan Nagbar, actually summed it up best. The players here are the best in the world. You are not going to be a star the first day you get here. Sometimes you have to wait for your turn, whether you are a star in Europe or not. I'm not saying that those two coaches didn't underestimate Spanoulis or Macijauskas, but both of these legends came into the league with huge egos, and when you are a big fish in a small pond and then you enter the ocean, you probably cannot expect anything else. Of course, that was also back in the 2000s, so the NBA organizations now have much more information on EuroLeague players and can better choose who is the right fit to sign.
Rocketing down the lane, handing to Jack hammers it in.
The EuroLeague stars who followed Nagbar's advice and had patience eventually had great NBA careers. For example, Bogdan Bogdanovic went from being a #1 option and averaging 15 points for Fenerbahce to scoring in single digits for Brooklyn in his debut season. His scoring averages steadily went up season by season, and by year 10 he averaged more than 20 points a game.
Break free. It's Bogdanovic corner, wide open. Up.
Another example is Nemanja Bjelica, who left the EuroLeague as the MVP and had his role reduced even more drastically, getting to play less than 20 minutes and averaging 5 points in his first NBA season. While his scoring did not go through the roof, he slowly but surely became a valuable piece for NBA teams and went from the bench to a starter in both Minnesota and Sacramento.
To go home happy.
Okay, so the third and the final reason is not being able to adapt to the American culture. You can set your ego aside, even get along with your coach, but if you hate the culture that surrounds you every day, playing in the NBA might not be worth the sacrifice. Even Steph Curry enjoyed watching Juan Carlos Navarro play, but the EuroLeague legend did not enjoy living in the United States. Despite having a really solid rookie season, he went back to play for Barcelona next year, admitting he didn't feel at ease in Memphis. The language was a barrier, my girls were not comfortable, he said. Another guy who came back to Europe to play for Barcelona was Nikola Mirotic, who was actually balling in Chicago, New Orleans and Milwaukee. He went as far as to decline a $45 million contract offer from the Utah Jazz. Mirotic explained his decision, saying he felt too lonely in the NBA.
Me sentí alejado de todo el mundo, hasta de mi propia familia. Estuve mucho tiempo fuera.
I guess the fact that his teammate Bobby Portis punched him in the face during a practice only reassured his feelings. Recently, I also made a video about Nikola Jokic, who isn't really going along with the American culture and why that results in him being disrespected and underappreciated. Which makes me think that if he wasn't this MVP level dominating star, he probably would just choose to go and play in the EuroLeague. Because let's admit it, in Europe the focus is way more on the game of basketball instead of the entertainment. Let me know in the comments, if Jokic was just a role player in the NBA, do you think he would be playing there? But okay, there's also many examples of Europeans who didn't just not mind living in the US, but actually flourished there. Let's take Boban Marjanovic, who made the All-EuroLeague first team in 2015, but then joined the NBA, got little to no time on the court, but embraced the American culture, becoming an ultimate fan favorite and even getting to try himself in Hollywood. Another Serbian who should be familiar with Hollywood was Marko Jaric, who not only found his role in the league, but also married supermodel Adriana Lima, which meant he attended more than a few red carpet events and didn't seem to mind it. So yeah, these were the three main reasons why I believe EuroLeague stars fail in the NBA. Let me emphasize the word main here, as there are many factors such as being riddled by injuries, having some streaky shooting, or sometimes maybe you shouldn't have been playing in the NBA in the first place.
They should be fine.
You know, I had a fear there for a minute as the guys were having a good time.
If you're watching this way later, maybe this isn't relevant anymore, but looking at the two EuroLeague MVPs who are starting the 23-24 season as NBA rookies, I can see why they could struggle at first. While Micic has the right body for the league, there's going to be a defensive adjustment when facing these super quick guards. Another issue might come from the fact that he'll be the fourth or even fifth guard in OKC's rotation, meaning that he might not get to handle the ball as much as he's used to, which would limit what he can provide on offense.
So no worries there. And at this point of the game, I don't know how many players the coach is actually looking at.
Vezenkov, on the other hand, shouldn't have any issues being a role player and playing without the ball, as those are actually his strengths. But when it comes to his defense, I won't be surprised seeing another European forward playing limited minutes because of his defense being,
At best, okay.
but let's hope I'm wrong. All these worries age horribly and we see two successful transitions from the EuroLeague star to an NBA player. Let me know in the comments if you agree with the three reasons I broke down in this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.